We're going to begin with how the gardens came about. I think it was a many people's dream to have one a long time ago, and finally came to fruition. So this is Bill Goranson will be running this. Diane Spears, who actually is the garden manager and has been with the garden since the beginning, as has Bill, myself, and George Slade, who works with Jean Hills managing the huge new food pantry garden, and that's what it's all about. Okay, Bill. This right here, and Diane may be answering questions, or anybody if I forget. The original farm in 1931. Are you all familiar that it was part of the Plymouth County Hospital land?
Mm-hmm. Barnstable County.
Well, it was Barnstable I meant, I'm sorry.
Next.
Yeah. Okay, and this, in the beginning, because many years after the hospital closed, it overgrowthed everywhere. And in the beginning, it was like this here. And that was the building. And then over here, you go over here. And this is how the garden, the first sections of the garden were laid out. And those represent the beds that are in the garden. Is there anybody that has not been up there on County Road and seen it? And not understand? Shame on you, you need to go on a tour and seen the wonderful beds and everything. So we're going to talk about everything and how it came about and who built the beds and etc. Okay, Bill. Okay. There again is in the beginning after they cleared the land. That land all had to be cleared, and there are pictures of it coming up. And then this right here was, it was in 25, and it goes all the way out to here. Along here is the grass. When you go all the way down the driveway, the shed's down there, and then goes around this way. But you'll see it in more detail. This was cleaning the brush. It was Ted Ellis cleaning the brush, and that was in 2012, I believe. 10, when they started cleaning the brush.
First day of brush cleaning was all done in one day. It was amazing to see. After we cleared the brush out, you could really see the contour of the land and how a community garden would come to
Right. Did everybody hear the amazement of just clearing it all and seeing how it all came about and what was available? There it is right there, all cleared out. That is the thrift shop building there. But this is all the land cleared out before any construction of beds or pathways were laid. And there again goes back down to the apple tree down in that area. And the burning of the brush, they had to burn all the brush and stuff they hauled out. These here are the first beds, and there was just crews that worked on them. You'll see in the next, I think it's the next slide. Yeah, they built the beds off the ground, down by where the shed is, basically, hauled them up, and laid them all in place in the rows and everything that they went in. And over here, this is the back end of it. The new beds would have been, in the beginning, would have been laid up in this area, up in here, and then the thrift shop here. This is where the apple tree is, if you're out down there and very familiar with it, and down here all around. The actual food pantry now is way down over here. This is the very first food pantry bed. And how it came about, and you'll see it in the pictures, there was a young girl in my church, Sharon Hino's daughter, Maddie. And so Shannon said, do you think that, she's a Girl Scout and she was working for her Eagle Project, do you think that you could help her find something to do? And I said, give me a day to think about it. And so I went back and I said, how would you like to grow green beans for the food pantry? I had checked with Diane. There was one empty bed. Nobody was using it, so they donated it to us. And we went and she tilled it and worked it. And this is a daily colander full that we would get. And how we planted it was in successions. We'd plant like 3 rows, put a 2x4 across. Okay, 3 weeks later, start the next. And we did that all the way down the bed. And here's one section coming up here. That's myself. That was Maddie, and that's her brother Tommy. And we all just kind of worked on it, doing, like this was just beginning to come up, this was here, and they were doing seeding down there. And we would bring every single week to the food pantry a huge colander like this, full of green beans. So this is the shed. And I have to thank Garden Club for their donation for the shed. There were Garden Club donated money towards it. Kit and Bob Nelson donated money towards it. And that's how it got built. And it was built with people from the garden, the guys from the garden. There are some of them now up there with it, and framed and built. And it's even still standing. How did we get money to start the gardens? First of all, we had a fee that we paid to for our plots. But that we found that as we were growing and needed things, needed water, needed new beds and things, that wasn't quite covering it. So we thought, as a board, we sat and thought, and I said, oh, down in Harwich, I read about some garden club that sells manure, but they get it from the western part of the state. So there has to be someplace around here. And we found the turkey farm over in Sandwich. And we did that for a few years up until they stopped doing it, which was just before COVID, basically. And these are 50-bag pallets that we would get. So along about the AJ up here, who owned the farm, would come very early in the morning. The sky would just begin to lighten up, and I'd meet him over there, and they'd unload them from the big trailer truck. And that was our first funding. So this was the very first year that where the gardens over there, the ones that we saw laying the beds. And then back to the third year, we had expanded down behind the apple tree.
With the addition of the water stations.
And the water was in by then. We had money to do it with that old turkeys. This here is George turning the beginning of down where the food pantry gardens is now. It was a smaller, there used to be pumpkins growing down there. How many of you ever went to the pumpkin festivals that we had? A few. And the pumpkins were all down there. So this is now the beginning of what we have as a great food pantry garden. And here's the the squash path down here. And that's all butternut squash. We were picking this morning, and I still saw the butternut squash there. It's almost ready. This is how it's transported to the food pantry. This was maybe one picking. Sometimes there's 3 of these trays of different things. It's not all work. We gather for fun. We gather for work days. And we gather just to enjoy each other's company.
And the food.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone expanding the garden down here and tilling it out. And this is the beginning of the new big food pantry again and the expansion of it. This is the food pantry garden as it is now. The Friends Food Pantry. We have banners there. I brought the banner thanking you for your donation. It costs money to put the garden in, and we all sponsored some to keep it up. These are the sponsors, the Aptucxet Garden Club, the North Falmouth Church, and the Friends of the Bourne Food Pantries volunteer. This is another load that was picked. George is very good about being there very early, like too early. And then we come and we volunteers come and pick and load it in the big red trays, and you'll see further what happens. This is some of the produce that was sent, the cucumbers. There's one of the pickers with George, and they pick and everything is weighed, so he can tell you how many pounds each time. And that's Jean Hill. She's the other manager of the food pantry. She's a master gardener, and she actually bosses everybody around in the food pantry garden. And it's just fine. And there's 3 trays going from one morning. Another one. This is how we weigh it every time. That's George with some of it. More gardeners. The volunteers that picking come in the morning to do it. There's us loading a truck here to go. It's all, he drives it all over the bridge, even in the summertime.
Like this morning.
And there's the whole garden all planted there, most of it, you can see. A variety of everything. This is the piece of the winter. And we thank you for your support for the Aptucxet Garden Club. I have some brochures here for everybody. And there's anybody that's interested in a plot, when they open up, there's a list that's kept, and you're welcome to take an application if you want to go on the list. It'd be very...
I have a question.
Sure.
So at the end of the year, what is your tally for
The weights for the food pantry, that's a question for George.
George?
Depends on the yield. This year, we're not sure how we're making out because of the squash is what really weighs things down.
Oh,
We could
okay.
bring herbs over, and we could do a
Right.
ton of herbs, and it would weigh 15 pounds for the whole summer. But
Oh,
we
okay.
usually do, I think as much as 700 pounds, I
Yeah.
believe, for the
That was
summer.
like-
It has
Yeah.
been.
And that's, usually comes in the later months when the squash and it's mainly the squash, that's really what,
Yeah.
that's the sexy figure, is the
Right.
weight. But,
Right, and that hasn't been harvested yet.
That's right, that's
Although I
the
have to say, probably the most sought after is the tomatoes.
tomatoes,
That's
yeah.
what it's all about at the community garden.
Oh,
Everything
yeah.
else is just icing on the cake.
So, but it's a treat for all of us that work there, all of us that have gardens and share our food maybe. It's just the idea that we can contribute to something that's really valuable to the town of Bourne residents in the food pantry.
And another question, how can people donate then individually if they want to donate towards the food pantry?
Well, for produce, you mean?
No, well, or just donate money.
If someone wanted to make a donation, they could make it to the gardens, and it'll be earmarked for improvements in the food pantry. We do have sponsors, as you saw on the little banners that were out, and those sponsors are actually either asked or just repeat every year. So to support the compost, to support the new soils maybe sometimes, the plants, things like that.
Is the food pantry in Buzzards Bay, the one in Buzzards Bay?
Yes.
it is.
121 Main Street?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have a question.
Okay, so we are open to questions. Anybody, Betsy, did you have a question?
And are there any plots available now?
Yes, there are a few.
You have to be a resident of the town of Bourne, and you have to fill out the application and put it in. The applications are, go by plot size, somebody asked, but they go in the order they came in. So you put on a list.
When is the season?
Well, that's a good question. For some people, it's short. It's from May through October. For those who are real diehards, they'll be out there as soon as they can get anything in the ground till the snow flies.
Some people have even tried to cover theirs and make it go just a little bit past the snow flying.
Oh yeah, we have had people who do use row covers who as a way to extend the season so that you can start your seeds early on by March, and they'll help you extend the season until maybe December.
But when does the water be turned on and
Water
off?
turns on mid-April and gets turned off around the beginning part of November. It is weather dependent.
Well,
And how much are the plots?
The plots range in price from $20 to $30, depending on the size. The smaller ones, the 4x8s, and the tall bed plot is $20, and then the other plots that are 8x8s or 4x12,
4x14.
4x2, yeah.
are all $30 each.
Each or monthly?
Each for the season.
Season.
It's a great value.
Yes.
Because for that, you have a raised bed plot. It's ready to go. You have access to our tools in the tool shed,
And
which over
water.
the years we have quite the collection now, and to town water, easily available.
And this summer, it's been, you could almost spend that amount of money just for the watering, because it's been,
Right.
it's pretty good growing season, but it needed a lot of water, just to put on our plug for water.
Yeah.
And if people wanted to volunteer, how do you get your volunteers?
It depends on what the project is.
But if it's
The
for-
wildflower always needs volunteers on the embankments.
Yes, on the embankment.
I did it all by myself.
Alder did all the wildflower planting to prevent erosion and things on the embankments coming down from the road.
We have three perennial gardens at the community yard now. The original border perennial garden, which goes around the original section of the garden. We have the county road embankment area, which, of course, Alda put in. And then we have our new pollinator garden, which is on the western side.
Okay.
So,
So when we're done, so I can put it in, if there's
Oh,
a
sure.
phone number or an
Yes.
address,
Sure.
so that I can make sure that I can put it in for people.
sure.
But there are some applications here on the application. Well, as I say, you'll have to go on the list, but it basically states the statement of what the garden is and what is expected and not expected.
You do have
And-
rules too, so
You have to.
most of it is just common sense to be considerate of your other fellow gardeners.
Yeah.
And we find that by putting it in writing, we're all on the same page.
So, any other questions on the gardens themselves or on the service that's provided? And I just want to reiterate that we really couldn't do it without people's support outside of the garden, especially when it comes to putting in the infrastructures and things like that were needed. And we really need to say thank you to the garden club, because the garden club did support the shed, they support other things, and it's really thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you to the Garden Club for being with us for every year that we've been open. So not only have we both supported Food Pantry, but we've been lucky enough to be supported by Garden Club. Thank you very much.
We're one of your grants that you give out each spring. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Peter Lindberg. I'm the president of the Bourne Friends of the COA and the Bourne Friends Food Pantry. Thank you for inviting myself and Arnie Carr, who is the treasurer, to come here and let you know what's going on. Hi, Diane. And just a little note that how the Friends started back in 1979 with Arthur Willis, Ruth Cook, and so forth, to help out with the programs for the COA. And they did quite a bit. They had outreach programs and so forth that they paid for. And about 1992, Sandra Vickery, who was then the director of the COA, came up with the idea of a food pantry, which came about because she asked a young person why they weren't living in Bourne. She said, I need to supplement my food. She says, I can get that in Falmouth, Sandwich, and Mashpee, and Barnstable, and Wareham, but not in Bourne. Bourne did not have a food pantry. So the wheels started in motion, And eventually she got the selectmen at that time to give us the engineering department, the old engineering department in the basement of Town Hall, which you remember that? And it started there. The first time they opened the door, they figured, well, we'll have 50 people for the first month. They had 50 people for the first week, and it's grown from there. From there, we've moved to Colonel Drive, and from there, we moved down to Commerce Park. We had a nice warehouse job there, and so forth. We've outgrown that, and now we're in the TD Bank on 121 Main Street in Buzzards Bay. And we have combined our offices and the food pantry under one roof. And we've been there 3 years, and we're tight for space again, because we have grown. We had 419 families on January 1st, 2025. Right now, we're at 448 families and growing. We put on 28 families since the 1st of June, all due to the reduction of people's benefits and so forth. So we don't turn anybody away. If they qualify, they must be a Bourne resident. If they're not a Bourne resident, we give them a supplemental few bags of food where they can get food and a complete list of where they can go. We get a lot of our produce from not only your Valley Farm gardeners during the season, but we get a lot from Boston Food Bank. So far this year, we have purchased 134,000 pounds of food. And we've received 36,000 pounds of donated food. We also, I'll move my papers over. We have drop-off boxes at Market Basket in the north door. We have the Bourne Library. We have the community building. And I think that's it. Library. And the COA, there's one at the community building. We take all types of food products. We're not fussy. A lot of people clean out their cabinets. We have to watch the dates. And the board of directors are very fussy about that. We also get food donators, not only from the Valley Farm gardeners, but we have other organizations that have donated. We get from the Scraggy Neck Association, Wallace Point Group, Taylor's Point Group, Sagamore Highlands Group, all types of little small neighborhoods, the Gray Gables Group. There's so many, I don't know them all. Those are the major ones. We get monetary donations from the Pumpkin Patch, which we greatly appreciate. Also from the Bonnier Beach Polar Club, for those that like to go swimming in January. Not me. The cardiologist said, no, you can't do that. So, and that really helps us out. Plus all personal and corporate donations that we have and so forth. Yes, ma'am.
If we had extra vegetables in our own vegetable gardens,
Will we take them? Oh, you betcha. Oh, you betcha, yeah. Guaranteed. We had a person call the other day, wanted to know if they could do that, and I said yes.
Can you bring them directly to Main Street, or can we drop them off at the library?
I would ask you to bring them to Main Street so we could refrigerate them if they need be. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Don't worry about washing them, because if you want to wash them, fine. If you don't, that's okay. We have facilities we can do that. So,
Now, are you open every day, or no?
we are open from Monday to Thursday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We closed on Friday. As everybody knows, Friday in the summertime, you don't move here. You just get your groceries on Thursday and just stay home for the weekend. If you wish to enroll and know somebody that needs assistance, they can come over on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. to noontime. Now we're just starting out this is our third Monday that we're doing it from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on Monday evenings. And we're just trying this as a pilot program, and it's working out well. It's starting to grow. Actually, we started out with 6 or 7 people. Now we're up almost to 2 dozen. So it's helped out the working class people that need it and that can come in right after work, get their food, and then go home. And they get to put it away and all that other good stuff. And they don't have to take time off on a Tuesday morning to get to, so they don't get to work on time. But no, we've been quite busy. We do supplemental foods from, we have wholesalers that we can get foods from and so forth. Cisco, we have a produce company in Plymouth that treats us very well. And it's the first time we went to another produce company and they said, fill out the 6-page application. I sent it back to them. I said, no, thank you. The second one said, what's your name? What's your number? Okay, what do you need? He said, where are you located? I said, and he said, fine. He said, you answered the 3 questions I need. He said, I know where to find you. So that was it. So it was great. But we really appreciate the Valley Farm Gardeners. They bring it over. You know, everything we got, we have a meeting with them in the spring and the fall. We go over what went, what didn't go, what people like. And it's always changing because we have a lot of different ethnic people that like different things and so forth. The last load of food we got from Boston, we had jalapeno peppers in there. They went the first day, gone. I said, okay, I didn't even expect that. So, but it really slayed me that we bought them just to see what they would do, and they were gone, period. So, but we got some more, and those sat there for a week. So it all depends who comes in for that particular day. So we're quite busy. We have a load of food coming in from Boston on Monday. Came in today being Monday. I lose track of time. We buy 3,000 to 4,000 pounds of food every other week from Boston, and never fails. No. And that cost us around $1,400 for that load. Wow. That's every other week that we're spending. But that covers a broad spectrum, some produce, some beef, frozen foods, canned foods, dry goods, and so forth. So we try to have quite a large selection for the clients and so forth. And we've had compliments from people that have just come in to visit our pantry that it's almost like a grocery store. I said, well, that's the idea, but sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. He said, well, so aren't the grocery stores. So we just go from there.
Bourne Food Pantry is a choice food pantry, right?
Yes. Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means that you go and you select the food that you want.
Yeah.
You don't just get a box of packaged food chosen for you.
Yeah, on meat selection, the board of directors decided to give people a choice of, out of all the meats that we carry, which would be ground beef, ground chicken, turkey, whole chicken, meatballs, raviolis, all considered, we call them meat products. They give a choice of four of those items. And they can have out of that 4 items, they can have the maximum of 2. Like if you wanted 2 ground beef, you could have it. You know, because some people don't want the other stuff. Would rather than take what they want and not take it and throw it away. So we're trying to cut down on waste on our end and so forth. So donations, you can mail them to us at P.O. Box 144, Buzzards Bay, 02532, or you can drop them off. We have a drop box at this Council of Aging right by the office. It's locked. Nobody will steal it unless they rip it off the wall and it's put on with lag bolts. So I know that for a fact. Or you can bring them by. We do have a delivery truck. We deliver to people that are shut-ins The people that can't come to us, we do a telephone survey on Monday, we deliver them on Tuesday. The first week of the month, we do Sagamore, North Sagamore, and Bourndale. Second week is Buzzards Bay. Third week is south of the canal. And right now, we're doing average of 25 deliveries every week, and we do that for 3 weeks. So if you know of anybody that's a shut-in that needs help, have them call us. Because they don't have, we can take the form out to them, the driver will take it out, there's 2 guys on the truck, and they can take the form out to them and read it, sign it, fill it out, and they'll be good to go. And they'll be on the permanent list. I say we get food from Boston Food Bank and pick-up boxes and people that just do drop-offs. We do have a donation sheet that if people do fill out, some don't, because we'll send you a thank you letter so you can use it for their taxes and so forth. So we're trying to they give us something, we give them something in return so they can have a deduction. So, thank you.